Here we are, WrestleMania week, and this is the Claw Pod. Hi, guys. I'm the AntMan. He's Ross. He's Marshall. I still do the same thing and point the wrong way. Those of you listening, you don't even care about that part. We're all here together surrounding you with audio. Thank you for hanging out with us today. Man, big week. No matter, you guys, Ring of Honor, six-man tag champs, and it's still a massive week, even if you're not in WWE. Just as a fan, it's a big week because of WrestleMania. We are going to pick... like we did last week, a little snake draft of the best WrestleManias and why over the history. And fortunately, we have 40 of them to choose from, so we should not run out doing 3 rounds here. Sound good to you guys?
Yep.
Good. How's your week been? Anything fun happening in Ring of Honor?
Yeah. We went to Massachusetts, and we was it Russ? We landed in a state and drove to a different state. So I'm not sure if it was the other way around. Landed in Massachusetts and then drove to what's it called?
Maine.
Landed in Connecticut, drove to Massachusetts. You keep saying Maine, dude. Maine's so far away.
Started with an M. Okay.
Maybe Russ, you may have gone to Maine. Marshall may have gone to Massachusetts.
Yeah.
That's very true.
But we
went to Maine.
Yeah. We've always wanted to go to Connecticut because we always heard it's like the fancy side of New York. And so we finally went, and it felt like we're in England or something. So it was super cool.
You know what threw me off is that movie, Me, Myself, and Irene, where was he a cop at in that movie?
That was Rhode Island, I think.
Rhode Island. Okay, I'm way off. Oh, yeah.
But I get that whole
disregard.
I get that whole side messed up. I'm not a geologist.
We're going to have to figure out here on the podcast what you can and can't talk about when you tape stuff. Because there's stuff I want to ask you, but it may not have aired yet, and you can't talk about it till after.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I did see, so I saw it on social media, and this may have been now 2 or 3 weeks removed. You guys correct me, and you might be as lost as I am on the actual timing. Just knowing it's out there now, man. You guys and Dustin ready to take on some guys. So what happened with Dustin? Somebody stole his title, his tag title.
We don't want to say too much, but all I can say is this: we came home with this.
Oh, okay,
so we still got it.
Okay, so you got yours.
It went good. That's okay. No.
Okay.
No, so yeah, Dustin and Sammy have been having some drama with MXM, and we've seen them in the back and stuff. Those guys are really fancy, very glittery, as I guess I would say.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain them, but so they didn't win. They didn't beat them for their belts, but they stole one of the belts, I guess, and that's in their minds, that's their way of winning, I guess. And so that was kind of rubbed Ross and I the wrong way. Yeah. So we came down there to help our brother Dustin out. Yep. And it was, they wanted to touch our belts too. Once they touched the trio titles though, because that Sammy and Dustin, they're Texans, they can handle their business. We did a little promo and saying that. Yeah, saying just that. And then, they touched the trio belts. Ross and I both feel we haven't established ourselves in the locker room yet because injuries and all that stuff. So now it's time to finally we have someone to be mad at. This is great. It's perfect for wrestling.
They stepped in at a great time. We just needed somewhere to focus the anger, and it was fun, man. We had a good time.
Right. Yes,
looking forward to seeing where this goes in Ring of Honor in the next few weeks, and catching up here on the podcast on again what you can talk about and where you are in the timeline. So maybe that's what we need to do is map out sometime what we just shot, what we did, what has aired, and what we can talk about.
Yeah. Because I don't want to get in trouble or anything, but it was, dude, it really was such a good trip. It was awesome. Ross and I are trying to look at it like that way because now I have kids, and so I'm realizing when I'm on an airplane, it's like almost a vacation because I have no responsibility other than just wrestling. Yeah. And so I realized wrestling is like my getaway now. Yeah. And so wrestling just became really fun.
Yeah. Yeah. There's I will not name the person or the show, but something was given away the other day in an audio form because of stuff that had been taped, and did it by accident and tried to retract and in
wrestling.
Yeah. In wrestling.
In AEW or WWE?
The end. That's
okay.
It.
Was it us?
Oh, no. No. This would be an offline conversation.
Okay.
This wouldn't be on here. All right. We have 40 WrestleManias to choose from. We're going to pick our favorites, our top favorite, and then the rest are for the other ones to choose from when their round comes up. This week, we're going to start with Ross. Ross gets pick number 1 of best WrestleManias and why. Ross, what are you starting with today?
I'm going to say, I'm I'm going to say the Iron Man match with Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. You know, it had the awesome the entrance with the zip line. I'm a big gimmick entrance guy. That's always awesome. Anything sparkly and with some explosions, I'm in. Okay. Sure. And let's see.
It's WrestleMania 7.
Was it 7? Okay, 7. Yeah. And then JR,
the main event. Yeah.
Killing it on the commentary. The boyhood dream has come true. Yep. That kind of thing. And so it just burned it in my mind. That was a great one.
You know what? Sometimes I accidentally put that call at the end of the Montreal screw job. Just for
no reason. Understandably, yeah.
Like, oh, that's not supposed to go there. That's not the way it was done. Marshall, round 1, your first pick. What do you got here?
I'm gonna go WrestleMania 17, 2001 Houston. I think that was cool. I just think it was cool because that was like the Stone Cold's like heel turn, but it was like shocking. It was like a big turn. Mm-hmm. And we were super invested at that time. So it was for us, I think that was the most like captivating. You know, The Rock and Steve Austin were like the faces of the company.
Yeah.
I don't even know if there was like a one face, but because both of them were so huge. But it was cool because you had them and then, you know, all the heads and Vince McMahon even involved and stuff. But that probably, and it was all the Attitude Era, one of the funnest times. And then there was a few other stuff that Shane versus his dad. I thought that was cool. And for all you angry sons out there.
Well, and I think too that if you want to rival the main event and walk back through the curtain and go tell them to go top that, it would be TLC 2 with the Hardys and the Dudleys and Edge and Christian.
No. Yeah, dude. I literally just sent that to Ross 4 days ago. And I said, dude, watch this. And Ross, remember how because if you watch a match with good headphones, I don't know why, but we watched that match.
Oh, yeah.
And it was watching how I believe it was Edge and Christian came out first, right? They came out first and they look like this youthful, excited, you know, these kids or whatever. And it's fun to watch. But then when the Dudleys came out, they were coming out to just kick ass, super serious. No,
that was great. That was
good. But then when the Hardys came out, Hardys were like these like cool, like over babyface. People liked them, but they sprinted out there and them and the Dudleys went straight at it. I got sucked in so hard. Just like the other day.
That's so good. Well, WrestleMania 1 started things off in 1985. It was big for the time, but could you do number 2? Yeah, they did, but wasn't as it was as big, but not as big, if that makes sense at all. But the one that I'm picking for my first one is WrestleMania 3. This is the one that put everything over the top. The attendance record inside the Pontiac Silverdome, Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant, Hogan slamming Andre, quote unquote, the very first time. Although now we have YouTube and we see a lot of other matches, and even with Hogan where Hogan slammed Andre. But you know what? We didn't have that back then. So they could say this is the first time he's ever been slammed.
Yeah, it doesn't sound as good. Yeah, unless it wasn't the first time.
Who's going to jump on Twitter back then and refute that, right? Nobody.
True.
Can't do that. Didn't have it. But what I loved about this too is that's what drew everybody in, who sold the tickets, put the butts in the seats. But the one that topped the night, of course, for me, Ricky Steamboat and Macho Man Randy Savage for the Intercontinental title. That right there, that's one of those that you see replays of and just go, dang, how was that not the main event? Well, because we had Hogan and Andre. Oh, okay, well, that makes sense. I guess the name's Hogan and Andre, but that match, that's the one that made people leave and remember.
It was like technical wrestling masterpiece. Yeah.
Just so good and so emotional too. It just pulled out all emotional roller coasters. So that's my first pick. And since we do the snake and we come back, I'm going to have to say my next one is going to be WrestleMania 38. And this one was in Dallas. It was the return of Stone Cold Steve Austin, night number 1 of WrestleMania, taking on Kevin Owens. We didn't know if they were going to actually have a match. And judging from all the comments that I've heard Kevin Owens say, heard Steve Austin say, they didn't know they were going to have a match really until they went out there. And they didn't know it was just going to be a conversation. It was going to cut a promo the whole time. And that was going to be a main event, or if they were actually going to have a match. They ended up having a match. Steve Austin was awesome, as always, of course, in Dallas, having his last match in the same town he had his first match in. Pretty cool for the Texas Rattlesnake. And of course, we have night number 2, which was just electrifying as well. That was with 38. It was with, let me refresh my memory. Steve Austin, but Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. They were night number 2 for the title unification. So, but that's not what I left remembering. It was Stone Cold being there and stunning everybody, including Pat McAfee, which is just awesome.
Yeah.
So WrestleMania 38 is my second pick. So it goes back to you, Marshall. What do you got here, man?
I have a better one in mind, but I'm going to say this one just because I want to save. I'm kind of going off rankings, not best to worst or worst to best, but here I'm going to say 31, WrestleMania 31. I thought it was cool because I was just starting to become like a UFC fan, and there's nothing Ronda Rousey did. I know she's got some. Not everybody loves her being a wrestler, all that stuff. But I thought it was cool.
Just go.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I thought she was hot, but other than that, Sting. I thought it was cool that Sting and Sting finally came, and he did like I felt like the classic Sting. Yeah. He when he wrestled Triple H and stuff. So that was kind of like I wish our match would have happened like way earlier.
Should have.
Yeah, should have. But it was cool though to see Sting like in WWE ring for the first time. Right? Was that for the first time?
Yeah, this is the first and only time.
That's right.
Not the only time that Sting was in a ring, in a WWE ring, but it was the first time and the only WrestleMania.
Yeah, and you remember that was when Rollins he cashed in his the Money in the Bank. I remember it was just a super big deal. He didn't he cash in his? Was that the one?
Cashed it in at the WrestleMania 31. Yes, and it was when Seth Rollins cashed it in at the very end.
Yeah, but because he had a great match too, didn't he? I think he had a match
against Randy Orton. That's when they did the pop up RKO.
That was sick.
Yeah.
That was sick.
God,
and then
so
I remember Roman Reigns also had got like 1 billion. I think that's where Suplex City, like, didn't that where it started? Not started, but
definitely one when we started counting. I
just remember that meme. Suplex City, bitch. I'll never forget that. That was everywhere.
Yes, that's right. All right, so pick number 2 for you, Ross.
I'll go with kind of a recent one, WrestleMania 30. One that the fans kind of willed into existence. The Yes movement. It was with Daniel Bryan and I think him versus Batista, and then I think he had already beaten Triple H earlier in the night. Did he?
Yeah, dude. I like that storyline.
In the final match, it was him against Batista and Randy Orton. But yes, he did win.
Yeah, but as far as like the Yes movement, like sometimes we forget about how big that was, but that was a huge. That's all everybody talked about for a while, you know.
I feel like that's when fans kind of felt like they kind of had control a little bit because they were doing that. What's best for business? That whole gimmick? that was like fun to watch because it seemed like the fans like, no, we want Daniel Bryan as our champion, and they were Triple H, Batista, and Randy Orton. These guys that look like they should be your champions, right? Yeah, I thought it was cool.
Yeah,
that was great. That was great, and that was one like you mentioned at the beginning, that it was one that the fans, whether they really did or not, if this was the plan or not, it made us feel like we took over that WrestleMania.
Yeah, but it was also my least favorite because that's when Lesnar just beat freaking Undertaker, right?
That is.
Pretty sure it was. Yeah, that kind of sucked, Ross. Terrible choice, Ross.
That's what everybody kind of left thinking that. Yeah, but that was
man.
That was a
Taker says he doesn't remember any of that match.
What? Really?
Because he got concussed in it. Yeah.
Oh man. But I mean, so he didn't remember his loss, so it basically didn't count. Okay, sweet.
Yeah, exactly. For him, he didn't lose.
Where did one come from?
We'd love to know what your picks are. What is your favorite WrestleMania of all time and why? What was the main event or the match that made you go, oh, this is why I remember that WrestleMania? Drop it in the comments. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. If you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe and leave a comment there on which one is your favorite. One last round. And Ross, that means it starts back with you for one final pick. Your favorite WrestleManias. Which one?
Wait, since Marshall mentioned it, does the streak, when the streak was broken, I'm just, okay, did that count that when 21-0 became 21?
That was the WrestleMania you said, wasn't it? That was the WrestleMania.
That was the same. Oh yeah, that was the same one. So I'm going to use that.
The same WrestleMania?
Well, yeah, it'd be a different WrestleMania because we're picking WrestleMania, not matches, just overall WrestleMania.
Okay. Let's see. Okay.
I love when Ross looks dumb. This never happens.
Oh, he didn't look dumb. Not at all.
Yeah, dude, how's it feel, Ross? Yeah, dude.
Totally fine.
I live like this,
okay,
dude.
Let's see. Stone Cold versus Bret Hart. Was that WrestleMania 13? As you guys mentioned, WrestleMania 13 yet?
So that's what I was going to say.
Nope, you got it.
Okay.
Yeah, you
boom. Yeah, submission match. Ken Shamrock as ref. That was awesome. And then the picture you remember that from that is Steve Austin, yelling with the blood coming down his face. Like that was burned into my memory my whole life. And me and Marshall reenacted that a bunch of times as little kids with like
who was who? Who was
blasting through ketchup bottles?
Which one was which?
Marshall was the one bleeding and yelling.
Yeah, I'd cry if I didn't get the bloody guy.
If you weren't getting colored, you got mad.
It was real painful. You won't let me get the blood on my face. I remember whitey tighties with ketchup all over.
Of course. So think about this. WrestleMania 13. The first thing you brought up was the match, which was Bret and Steve Austin. That wasn't even the main event. Just off the top of you, could you think of what the main event? Because I can't. I had to look it up.
I don't know. What
Undertaker and Psycho Sid. Not one that anybody talks about.
Dang.
I'll tell you how. And this is so big for that match. It's the first match going into the WrestleMania Hall of Fame, and that's happening this Friday night, tomorrow night. So yeah, it is the first match ever to go into the Hall of Fame, and it's the one with Bret Hart and Steve Austin at WrestleMania 13. Pretty cool.
That was huge. Yeah.
Is Triple H going into the Hall of Fame this year, right?
Yeah, he's going in solo. He's already in with DX, but yeah.
Man, I bet I bet it'd be hard to because people think he's probably set that up or whatever. I'm sure
he didn't at all.
I know, but it's that'd be uncomfortable.
That came from Shawn and Undertaker, and they legit said, "Hey, he had no idea we had to." They got with Nick Khan and said, "Hey, this is what we want to do. We want to do it for him." And he's like, "Yeah, I agree." And they surprised him
just to make him mad.
I'd be cool.
Oh, dude, come okay, promoter champ.
Marshall, last pick. What are you going?
I'll do. I hate brother versus brother matches, but just because there were such great wrestlers, Bret Hart and Owen Hart, and WrestleMania 10, New York was just because they were just such good wrestlers. I thought they're just fun to watch.
A great wrestling match.
Yeah. And they really were. My dad said if you meet the Harts, any Harts that we've met, and then what's funny is my dad has the same kind of story about them. Is they lived and breathed it. But they live and breathe it, and they're just they're different. It's they're wrestling weird. It's
what do you mean wrestling weird?
I don't know.
They know everything about wrestling, but
it's just all they do and know. But it's beautiful at the same time.
Yeah.
And then, but the Natalia was one of the sweetest people we've ever talked to. Though she's and they know so much history about the families and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of Stu Hart's the reason our family. Has a huge role in our family, even being in wrestling. My grandfather was going to lose everything, go homeless and stuff, but it's also another grudge in there a little bit. He tore my grandpa's shoulder out. Oh. So, that kind of made me mad.
Yikes.
But, yeah. I mean, my grandpa couldn't work for a while after that.
That'll create some a little.
It made my dad really mad when he was a kid because it's your dad. You see your dad your dad in pain, but Stu Hart, that was his thing. He'd bring guys down to the dungeon and he would grapple with them and all that. And then he brought my grandfather down there. My grandfather was, the lesson he got from that was just never let a man get you in a hold. Because my grandfather, he wanted to show my grandpa a hold. So
was that when Granddad was just getting into the business? Marshall?
Just getting into the business. And he just started getting some steam. And so he allowed Stu to put him in a hold, and Stu ripped his shoulder out or something like that. And Granddad went couldn't work. That we went homeless. Dad and them had to live in the car for a long time, and then Stu let them stay with them. But it was
wow.
Yeah, that was a cool move. That was a cool move. I guess that's the right thing to do. If you're going to be homeless by an injury that you did to somebody,
that's why. It's wrestling.
One place to sleep.
Yeah,
for sure.
I admit I couldn't be mad at Stu because he kind of did the right thing after that. Sure. And my grandpa never held it against him. It was my dad that held it. My dad was just but it was still it's just it's wrestling. Wrestlers are weird sometimes.
Yeah. But that is cool, brother versus brother for that one.
Yeah.
One final pick. I have my final pick, and I think this is funny because the main event is The Rock versus John Cena, called once in a lifetime. The very next year, The Rock versus Cena 2.
Gotta love wrestling.
In wrestling, it's never final, right? So I'm going to go with WrestleMania 28, the first time we got Rock versus Cena. And this really was, like we talked about on WrestleMania 30, being willed by the fans for that main event. This one was willed by John Cena, who just started firing shots at The Rock on Twitter and would not quit. And where it started creating like legit heat between the two without, Cena didn't go talk to The Rock and say, hey, could we try to build this? He just did it in public and did it in front of everybody. And of course they both knew it was going to draw some money, and indeed it did, selling out MetLife Stadium. But man, the other one in that big one in that WrestleMania 28, was The Undertaker and Triple H Hell in a Cell, end of an era. And that one was just fantastic. I believe that was the year after we had Undertaker and Shawn Michaels in Hell in a Cell for Shawn's final match, and this one was Shawn came to be the special guest referee in this match, and yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it was
what WrestleMania was that?
It was WrestleMania 28. WrestleMania 28 at MetLife Stadium.
Happened WrestleMania 28. I should have it in mind before I say that. There's
all good. It's a great one. So I'm going to pick that one as my third and final one, with The Rock versus John Cena. This is also the one we got leading up to it, is that Rock he wrote something on his wrist, part of his promo, so he wouldn't forget it. And then John Cena called it out in the moment, and you could see that pissed The Rock off.
Honestly, I mean, I think it was great for fans, but that was the day promos started sucking for wrestlers, because then everybody's digging like dirty laundry or hanging dirty laundry, and
you gotta personal. Keep an eye on your personal life now.
Exactly, not asking if it's cool to talk about. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. But yeah,
if you do it in a rhyme, and it's okay. That's what John said.
Yeah, exactly.
The rhyme is not a crime, baby.
Absolutely. All right, there's our picks. We want to know what your picks are. What are your favorite? What is your favorite? Your number one WrestleMania of all time? Drop it in the comments here. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on watching or listening on Spotify, you can drop it there as well. Or you can always go to theclawpod.com and drop us a comment or an email or any of our socials as well. We would love to know. Guys, where are we headed this week?
Boston,
baby.
We headed to Boston tomorrow. Thursday. We're going to Boston Thursday.
All right. So, what? You have any idea of who's coming to touch your titles?
I'm assuming MXM. Those guys are the Glitter Boys. Yeah, because they've been pretty much our business for the past couple of trips, and so we're gonna go. I just want to put an explanation on it that don't touch trio titles, but we also are excited though, because what got us, I wouldn't say what got us here was tag teaming. It was Dustin really became, and we were,
of course,
we wanted, Dustin's like just royalty to us, and he's like sensei, and there's something really special about Dustin. I wish fans could see stuff he does backstage, just how he is. He really is so good. We're
going to remember this time in our careers forever. Forever. Teaming up with him, it's going to be a monumental time. I'm really trying to just enjoy every second.
Why. I'm not making Ross is doing a good job at just like, hey, because we're not having the matches that we want to not have, because 6-man are difficult. It's not difficult. They're easy, but I don't want them to be easy. I want to showcase, technical wrestling and things like that. And let people know that we're more.
We had a long career ahead of us, but
exactly.
I'm enjoying this right now,
and so
That's
it's
awesome.
fun. It's fun.
Can't wait to watch. If you go to ROH, I believe it's ROHwrestling.com. It's where you can watch.
Yeah, watch
Honor Club, right?
Honor Club.
Honor Club. Yep. Sign up for Honor Club. You watch all of these matches and follow along with the guys on their journey in the defending those 6-man titles at a Ring of Honor. Have fun in Boston.
Ross too, by the way.
Bring me back a Red Sox hat, will you?
Oh yeah, I got you, bro.
Ross, after we have to talk about this, Ross knew that Ring of Honor, because he was a Ring of Honor fan for a long time.
Yeah.
And but he knew you're supposed to shake hands before matches, and let me go first, and not knowing that, made me look like an idiot.
And you walk over and punch the guy in the face.
I just slapped his hand out. Like, what are you doing? Shake hands. Oh, okay.
Well,
Sorry.
guess
Thanks,
what you're
Ralph.
going to remember to do from now on?
Exactly. Forgot, idiot.
Still not smartening up Marshall, are we?
I'm trying, baby. I'm trying.
Yeah, trying. Guys, always good to hang out with you. Thank you so much for watching or listening to the Claw Pod this week, and we'll see you next week.